When local growers put great food on Tennessee tables, that's living green. Join Live Green Tennessee as we visit the farm in Summertown, walk Parkview Elementary School's seedling project, and check out West Winds Farm, Tennessee's sole organic beef farm. Plus, Gator Harrison cooks catfish with Chef Jason from Franklin's Red Pony Restaurant. We feed baby Grady, visit the Gadget Lab and the Medicine Garden, and a whole lot more. For good news that's all green, it's Live Green Tennessee coming up next.
This program is brought to you in part by
the Tennessee Department of Agriculture. This summer, there's fresh, local food grown by a farmer you know at Tennessee farms and farmers markets near you. There's fun there too, with berries to pick, animals to pet, games to play, fish to catch, and color you can bring home to last all summer long. This summer, find yourself on a Tennessee farm with picktnproducts.org.
Do you know where I can find
drill bits? L7.
Thank you.
Lawn and garden pickup line 1. Lawn and garden line 1.
Hey, aren't you Charlie?
Charlie's here?
Charlie?
Charlie?
People know that farmers have some of the best advice around, like you don't have to be a farmer to save money with Farm Bureau Insurance. Farm Bureau Insurance. Tennessee turns to us.
Charlie, pickup on line 1.
This happens a lot.
From the great wide north to the hills of Tennessee, built with pride and integrity, honest Abe log homes from sea to shining sea, building the American dream. Honest Abe log homes.
It's what you've always wanted.
HonestAbe.com. And by the generous support of the Nature Conservancy of Middle Tennessee and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Connecting the grower to the buyer, the country to the city, and smart shopping with a healthy lifestyle. It's Live Green Tennessee.
Hello, I'm Melinda Kiefer and welcome to Live Green Tennessee. As with a whole lot of things, the lessons of living green are best learned when started early on. Several years ago, Parkview Elementary teacher Beverly Hall started a butterfly garden at the Cookeville School's playground, not only to beautify the area, but as a learning tool. From this sprang the idea of enlarging the garden to include vegetables. With the help of the local master gardeners, Beverly went to work on the educational component of her garden, and what she developed was seedlings, a collaboration of elementary school-age children who were interested in gardening and on its impact on the world around them.
Well, in this day and age, with technology and the way parents work, there's been studies done. There are children, they'll never see sun come up. They'll never see a sunset unless you can get them outside in an outdoor environment like this. So to me, it's very important. If I can just expose half of Parkview out here, just to touch the soil, to smell it, you know, I feel like I've done a world of good as far as getting them in contact with nature. You can show them in a book, but to actually see it and see the plant, touch the plant, be outdoors, that's what an outdoor classroom is all about to me. I received a grant from Farm Bureau, which helped to basically just get me started. And then on Earth Day last year, I got a hold of my master gardener buddies and said, this is what I'd like to do. Had the plan all drawn up. It ended up being larger than I had ever anticipated.
This year, the seedling curriculum worked in the butterfly garden. They learned about mulching, they learned about weed identification, and the proper way to plant a plant. Also during the seedling course this year, we began the vegetable gardens. These are raised beds. The children have learned to amend soils. They have learned the planting and care of vegetables. We also have incorporated into the course an environmental portion, which helps our children to become better stewards of our earth in the future. In the environmental program, they are learning their relationship to the environment around them. For example, where does a tomato come from? It's not the grocery store. but it actually comes from a tomato plant that they can grow.
So then on May the 17th, we had our first awards day for that first class to graduate. So they had the same color shirt, they received their seedling badge and a certificate stating that they were the first graduating seedling class. So it was pretty exciting. I had invited Commissioner Givens to attend, and he was here. He was very impressed. He would like to see this program continue. Actually, I received a phone call just the other day, and he said that he would like to talk with Miss Nancy and myself to see how he can get this going some more in other schools and across the state. So that's exciting.
The reason agriculture is important to kids is that, first of all, it's the largest industry we have in the state of Tennessee. It's a $60 billion industry. It's $60 billion. It employs over 500,000 people in the state of Tennessee, either directly or indirectly. So I appreciate the school director here being supportive. I appreciate the school principal, and of course Miss Beverly Hall does a great job here in teaching, and all the folks involved from the Master Gardener standpoint.
We would like to see this program in every elementary school in Putnam County, and we would like to see it move across the state because our children are our future.
I just like when we plant the flowers, it doesn't really bother me that we're getting all dirty and stuff.
It's non-threatening, it's a garden. Yeah, we want to see it productive, but you know what? If they pull up a plant that's really a plant and not a weed, it's okay, it'll grow. You know, you can't really get in trouble in the garden, of course, unless you're throwing it, the mulch, but I think they find it very friendly. I think they feel successful. They want to see it grow. They like playing in the soil and in the mulch. When they put a plant in and they come back to look at it later or to come back to water it, it's either multiplied or as like this, you know, they can't wait to see the caterpillars get here. I think they feel successful. You know, pencil and paper, which I know we have to have that too. You know, sometimes you don't always get the right answer. Sometimes there's not always one right answer. But out in the garden, you can be free, you can be yourself, you can design, you can explore. Children have forgotten how to explore. They don't get to play in soil, they don't get to play in sandboxes. I don't know, I think outdoors is, you can learn everything outdoors. I mean, if you want to read, bring your book outside, read outside. So instead of, you know, the child going home and saying, well, what'd you learn today? Nothing. Instead, you know, they're going home. We got to play in the dirt. We learned about this, you know, we got to do this, and tomatoes make salsa. So they go home and they've learned something enough that it excites them that they can talk about it. So my kindergartners that come out here now with me at recess, they would rather be out here than with their friends on the playground. The graduation ceremony was awesome. We started out with 30 children and we ended up graduating 28. So we had a good turnout. I mean, that was probably the first LEAPS class. There was 18 the first class, because I have it for 2 hours, so the first class was 18 children. There probably was only 1 or 2 classes due to maybe the weather being inclement, not sure. But most of the time, all 18 of those students in that first class were here every single Tuesday. So that's the first LEAPS class I've ever had where they're there, they can't wait, they're ready to sign in, let's go, you know, so it was exciting.
So as far as our program for seedlings, we renew again this fall, and we'll be right back here at Parkview working with the new group of children and some of the children that were in here this year. And we look forward to bringing it to a school in your neighborhood real soon.
So all I gotta say is, are you ready?
Yeah!
Because who are you?
The seedlings!
It's never too soon to learn, and that's a healthy lesson for Amanda Collier's baby Grady. Amanda learned from her mother about the benefits of early strawberries.
Hi, my name is Amanda and this is Grady, and we're here to show you a really good way to use all of the fresh strawberries that you can find at local farmers markets and pick your own places across the state of Tennessee this time of year. I'm gonna go ahead and give Grady a strawberry because he'll get kind of ill if I don't. So we're gonna take our strawberries, we'll add some banana just to sweeten it. Sometimes strawberries are a little tart and I like to add banana to all of my smoothies to make sure that it's good and sweet. We're putting in about 6 strawberries, half a banana, and we're going to take about 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup of yogurt and put that in. Your favorite plain yogurt for a baby. You don't really want to use non-fat because they don't really need to watch their waistline, and it's good to give them those good fats that help them with brain development. So I'm just going to pop this on here and give it a little bit of a whir. Since Grady is teething right now, we like to make popsicles. Put them in the freezer, and within 8 hours we'll have some nice sweet popsicles. Do you want a popsicle? Have a great summer from Live Green, Tennessee. Thanks. Is that good?
Every week, the white trucks and trailers of West Winds Farm roll into farmers markets and local neighborhoods across Tennessee, offering organic, grass-fed beef, pork, lamb, and poultry products. West Winds started about 14 years ago, almost as an accident when 2 Oak Ridge environmentalists fell for each other and then for farming. Today, West Winds is Tennessee's sole organic meat producer, supplying markets from Memphis to Knoxville to Atlanta and to the rest of the country via the internet.
About 16 years ago, Ralph and I were working in Oak Ridge. We were both environmental professionals. I was an environmental regulatory specialist, and Ralph was a geotechnical lab manager. We got married and started to feel like we'd like to do more to be more sustainable. We felt like there was so much consumerism around us, and that we were such consumers. We wanted to do more to produce things for ourselves. And we found this place, West Wind Farms. When we bought the place, we did everything you're not supposed to do. Took out an advance on all of our credit cards. We took an advance on our 401k, loan on our 401k, just to put down the down payment. And we had to continue working full-time in order to continue to pay for it. I mean, we had nothing. And so I grew up in Knoxville, and grew up in apartments my entire childhood, and never had any experience with farming. Ralph grew up in Nashville, downtown Nashville area, and he never had any experience with farming. And so this was all a whole new experience for us. But we knew we could do it. We knew we could start to produce things for ourselves and become more self-sustaining and less consumer-driven. We had originally just intended to farm it for ourselves, and not really farm it, but just garden and produce our own food. The more we produced for ourselves, the more people saw what we were doing, and they wanted to have us produce a little bit for them too. It was totally in line with what our philosophy was on life, that we needed to be, we needed to protect the environment, to do more to try to improve our little place in this world, and that maybe we could just make a living at this. When we started farming here, being environmentalists, we were thinking about what this farm needed. We had livestock on the farm because we felt like that's what the soil needed. We knew we didn't want to plow it, and it needed continuous grazing. Then we had all of these animals on the farm, and we were vegetarian. we had been vegetarian for decades. And so we had to, we had to start learning how to deal with these animals. I remember the first chicken that we processed. We had a book open that was telling us how to do it, and it described all the organs and everything and where they were. And it probably took us, 5 hours probably to process that first chicken. But it's like, okay, what's that? Okay, take that out. Is that a gizzard? What is that? But that was the best chicken we'd ever eaten. It was so good, that first chicken we ate. And it was worth all 5 hours of it. It was so good. Here at West Wind Farms, we operate a large grass-fed beef operation that is large relative to most small farms. We run Angus, Simmental, and Red Devon mixed breed cattle here on this farm. They help with rotational grazing. We insert them when we need to have more of the grazing in specific paddocks. We use the cattle to follow behind the sheep sometimes on the heavier pastures. And so only a few of the animals are kept here of the cattle, and then we keep the rest of the cattle on another 700 acres that we lease. All of our acreage is organic certified pasture, and that's all that the animals eat. We have a lot of infrastructure in place to do the deliveries to our customers. Behind me are some of the coolers that we use. We have about 100 coolers, just like this, that we use to pack orders in and deliver them to neighborhoods. All of our sales aren't at farmers markets, but we do go to 8 different farmers markets every week, sometimes some of them twice a week. We go to Memphis and Knoxville to do deliveries. We also go to Nashville, Franklin, Chattanooga, Atlanta, and all parts all around. So roughly we'll spend about 2 day trips or probably 3 day trips a week just traveling to markets where we're gone all day, and travel about probably 2,500 miles each week. But in addition to those markets, we do the neighborhood deliveries with these coolers. We have 3 walk-in coolers, at least 10 by 12 each, approximately 15 chest freezers that are in use at any time. And then we have the 3 delivery vehicles that we use. So you can see that it's quite an operation where it's a distribution center that we have to work from, getting our product out to our customers. We were one of the first direct selling meat farms, probably the first in Tennessee. You know, we were the first ones to show up at the farmers market. We decided to do our own meat processing for several reasons, to keep more control over our final product and be able to have a greater diversity of products than what our butcher might be able to do himself or be willing to do. We produce specifically for chefs. One thing in particular is our little small chickens. Chefs seem to like the smaller chickens that we produce, not the regular whole size. And so we do those just for chefs. We've been doing this so long that we developed some different products originally, and then we just add on as customers ask for more things. And so now, after 15 years, we have a really good selection of products. All in all, I guess we have about 175 or so meat cuts available to customers. They're not all in stock at all times, but we try our best to keep them in stock. Maybe 150, 175, something like that. I haven't counted them exactly. We've got 250 total products available to customers. I was trying to separate out what wasn't actually meat and poultry. So we hustle.
The best beef jerky you'll ever taste in your life comes from here, from West Wind Farms. And grass-fed cheeses, the best.
Chicken bologna. While bologna is not necessarily considered a health food, West Wind makes a chicken bologna that's organic, and it tastes delicious, and all their spices are wonderful, and my son's been looking forward to it all winter long.
But you know, there's a declining interest actually in local certified organic. People just want local. People are interested in organic agriculture to the extent that they understand organic. They think of cattle grazing out on green pastures and chickens being able to run around free. They think of the whole system working together, you know, with the birds and you know, the insects and everything working together. You know, the local food movement started because they wanted to be able to see where their food was coming from and verify that it was their idea of what organic was. So we do have organic certification, and we are their idea of organic. We're both. For Ralph and I, our future is probably going to be pretty similar to what it is now. We hope that we are an example of how people can start with absolutely nothing and develop a productive, profitable farming operation. People say that that can't be done, that you have to inherit land or you know, you have to have experience and that sort of thing, but we're living proof that you don't have to have experience. You can start with nothing. I mean, we had nothing but a dream and a prayer, you know, when we got started, and an intense commitment to organic production and sustainable production. And, you know, if you have a desire to, you know, maintain the land and to improve the land, and if you're willing to work hard, that it can be done. I mean, we did it. You know, we love what we're doing now and wouldn't trade it for anything.
Last month on Live Green Tennessee, we heard about the nutritional power of sprouts. This month, Eli the Gadget Guy found an easy but effective method for growing your own.
Hi, I'm Eli the Gadget Guy and welcome to the Green Gadget Lab. Today I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to grow a healthy treat. It is a seed sprouter. You can buy a sprouting kit or you can use an old mason jar with holes poked in the lid. We used a little of both. First, just soak your seeds overnight in a jar using the lid with holes in it. Then rinse your sprouts thoroughly morning and evening by letting the water rush out the top through the small holes. As the sprouts grow, change to a lid with larger openings to rinse the holes away. Not only will your homegrown sprouts be yummy, but according to my good buddy Dr. Rob Walker, sprouts are living medicines that have more medicinal properties than found in the seed or the mature plant. I'm Eli the Gadget Guy, and we'll see you next time in the Green Gadget Lab.
It's summertime now, and across Tennessee, gardens are growing, soon to be filled with all kinds of colorful and delicious delights. Many of these are already showing up in your local farmers market, and recently Live Green Tennessee dropped in on the neighborhood market in East Nashville.
We need a new one. How about a new one?
My name's Miranda Barris. I'm from Twin Forks Farm. We're located in Prim Springs.
My name's Eric Patrick. I'm the owner and operator of Foggy Hollow Farm, which is located in Jolton, Tennessee.
My name is Geraldine. I'm the owner of Geraldine's Greatest Chest Pies. This is a recipe of my grandmother. She gave it to me about 20 years ago.
I'm Skip with Alfresco Pasta. We make it fresh daily. We have a commercial kitchen right here in Nashville.
I'm Teresa Happy Barker, and I make organic vegan dog snacks because we think that you are what you eat, whether you walk on 2 legs or 4.
I'm Jennifer from the Green Wagon, and we're here at the East Nashville Farmers Market. This is our second year being involved with the markets. We bring all of the locally made products with us to the markets. About 70% of what we carry is made here in Tennessee.
All natural leaven sourdough breads baked in a wood-fired oven. We have the raisin bread right here, the Heritage sunflower wheat, Bohemian 3-seed, and the Expedition right there. They eat the raisin every morning for breakfast with some wildflower honey and partial to sweet things.
It's delicious. The bread's delicious.
We've got some lettuce mix, pea shoots, Italian kale, some spring onions, and then we've got some head lettuce here. We are certified organic. We've been farmers for about 2 years now. And we also had some potatoes and cucumbers and eggs earlier, but we've sold out of a lot of the stuff that we brought. This market has been a great market for us.
They're all natural, no artificial ingredients of any kind. We've got several raviolis. We've got a Tennessee sweet corn and a beet pasta, an Italian cheese, red roasted pepper, got portobello mushroom, also chicken black bean, sweet corn and shrimp here. I've got a lemon ricotta pillow, which is wonderful. I have gorgonzola, walnut, and spinach agnolotti. And these little guys here are butternut squash gnocchi. Okay, is that it?
I'm gonna go. By default, our snacks are vegan because they're hypoallergenic, and I avoid all of the most common allergens, which include dairy and meat.
It took me at least 14 years to master her recipe, but I do tell people my pies are always fresh, and I do make the best chest pie and diabetic chest pie in the state of Tennessee.
I love this farmer's market because of the community.
The people is my favorite part of coming to the farmer's market.
And it's just a great place to be.
Getting to meet the farmers, the people who are growing all of your food.
My favorite thing about coming to the farmer's market, a lot.
But when people tell me that it's good, you know, it's a nice thing to hear. Know that your work isn't, you know, for nothing.
Kudos. I love that.
Each month, country giant DJ Gator Harrison raids the D.T. McCall kitchen to learn about buying Tennessee and cooking green. When Chef Jason McConnell of Franklin's Red Pony Restaurant paid a call, he pointed out that nothing says Southern like catfish and cheese grits.
Hey, glad to have you guys back in the Green Galley. Live Green, Tennessee. We're going to cook healthy for your family, of course, take care of area farmers, build the economy, and to help us cook inventively, creatively. It's Chef Jason McConnell. He's our buddy here. Welcome to Live Green, Tennessee.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I would say from the Red Pony Restaurant, but there's actually 3 restaurants that you run in Franklin, Tennessee?
We do. We have Red Pony Restaurant and Soul Restaurant, which is an upscale Mexican, and also 55 South Restaurant, which is kind of Memphis to New Orleans, everything in between.
Very cool. Well, we got lots of questions about the restaurant, about the dish we're going to be preparing today, but I guess that's where we should start. Why don't you tell the folks at home what we're going to be cooking?
Today we're going to be doing some cornmeal fried catfish, pan fried with some goat cheese grits and a green tomato chow chow.
You know how to make a Southern boy happy, don't you?
So, yeah, so we kind of got a little bit of local action going on. We've got some goat cheese, which is Bonnie Blue Farms from Waynesboro. Oh, yeah. We've got some old Spencer Mill grits from Burns, Tennessee, near Fairview. And I did go to Ole Miss, so we're going to step outside the state and use some Mississippi catfish.
All right, just this once. We'll
just
let you
one
do
time.
that. I mean, it is Live Green, Tennessee, but we'll include Mississippi. Where do we get started?
So we're going to just talk about the grits first.
Okay.
We're going to take those and get those going now because they do take a little time. So I've got some grits here in the pan, which you can see. These are very coarse ground, and so these are stone ground grits, and they take a little while to cook. So the ratio I would use is 1 part of the actual dry ingredient to about 5 parts of liquid. Okay. And so in our liquid, which we've got already going right here, we've got some heavy cream, which is always perfect with grits.
You gotta have heavy cream.
Some water, and then we're going to cook those until they thicken up. And if you taste those, even though they are grits, they shouldn't be super gritty. So if they taste a little crunchy, it can add more liquid. And then we're going to finish those with some goat cheese.
Okay. And when you say a little while, I mean, what are you talking about? When you say a little
we're
while
talking about
for
15, 20 minutes versus an instant grit, which is pretty much just that. It's instant.
Okay.
So we're going to come on over to the chow chow. And chow chow.
Chow chow, you
chow
say.
chow.
All right, you got to explain to us what
not
chow chow is.
Chow chow is just a typical Southern condiment. It's a great bean condiment. So what we're going to do is we've got the creamy grits, and then the cornmeal catfish, and that's going to be a really acidic with the vinegar, so it kind of cuts through all that, and every bite's like a new bite.
All right, well, how do we get to the chow chow? Where do we get started? What do we need?
We've got some green tomatoes, and we also use a local farmer, David Daly, and his farm is Real Food Farms, and it's in Grassland, which is just outside of Franklin. So we're actually I'm gonna cut this for you and then let you take care of chopping these for me.
Watching out for my fingers, I appreciate that. He's seen Live Green, Tennessee before, I think.
So I'm gonna just take, and these you know, it's a pickle, it's a country pickle. So as far as the actual size of that, it doesn't have to be super small, large, just whatever your taste is. So,
so I can chop it any way I want to, this way and then this way, all right?
You can go for it, it's not a problem.
Okay.
So while you're chopping, I'm gonna go over here to this pot that's got some vinegar in it. We're gonna get that going, because basically what we're gonna do is chop our ingredients. And in this pot, I've got some white vinegar. And in that vinegar, I'm going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of black pepper, and then I've got this little spice mix here.
All my fingers so far. This is doing
You're doing
well.
great.
Okay.
So what we've got here is it's basically a dill, like a sweet dill pickle almost, with some turmeric, which is it's an Indian spice. Give a little bit of the yellow golden color. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the pot now. And in that mixture, it's totally up to your taste. We've got some cloves, some allspice, sugar, chili flakes, and you just kind of get that going. We'll turn that up a little bit.
Are there some alternative, let's say you can't find some of those ingredients?
Yeah, you could do lemon juice,
Sure.
you could do garlic cloves,
whatever sounds
just
good
whatever floats your boat.
Okay.
So we'll take that. And
I missed one, sorry. All right.
That's fine. I've got a little bit of, it is a green tomato chow chow, so that's our primary ingredient, but over here we're going to do a little bit of cabbage, which is also a typical chow chow ingredient. So I'm going to let you just do a little chop chop there on that.
All right. And now, is chow chow something we're going to find at the Red Pony restaurant?
Yeah, actually, the chow chow is a Red Pony, and also at 55. Chicken liver po' boy with a little of this chow chow on there. Awesome. It's good on any grilled fish or anything like that. So you're still chopping. I'm going to get this pan going here.
Okay.
For the catfish. Turn that down.
And like describing the Red Pony to folks maybe that haven't been or sold or.
So I've been in this area. I'm from Tennessee, Reeves, Tennessee, tiny town.
It is.
So I've been in Nashville for about 10 years, and then started Red Pony about 4 years ago. And Red Pony is it's a dinner only, and we make everything every day from scratch, from mayonnaise through all of our pastries. We do it all in-house.
Wow.
So it's time consuming, but it's a lot of fun. So
worth it, right?
We started with the Red Pony, and then a space became available across the street, so we took that and started Soul, which is our upscale Mexican, and we try to do a lot of not your typical Tex-Mex chimichanga type thing.
Right.
A lot of fresh produce, grilled fish, all that. So and then I got bored, so
well, sure, yeah.
we started 55 South, which is kind of I worked in New Orleans also, so it's a little bit of that Tennessee, a little bit of that Mississippi from the Ole Miss, and then on down to New Orleans. So it's everything in between.
Wow.
Off the road, off the path, whatever. Just
Very
a little
cool.
this, little that.
All right. So what's next here?
So I'm gonna take the pan off, and I'm gonna move around you over here to the catfish, and we've got. This can be substituted with any fish if since we are talking Tennessee, catch some brim, catch some catfish, bass, whatever. You can take any fish really.
That's cool. All right.
But we've got the catfish, and we're going to put a little bit of that salt and pepper we were talking about.
All right.
And I've also got a little bit of our little Creole seasoning here, which is it's got some herbs, some cayenne, some paprika. You're just looking to give a little bit of color to the fish. And over here I've got some of that white cornmeal from Old Spencer Mill.
Okay.
And we're not gonna kill it with the cornmeal. We're just gonna put a little, so it has a little bit of a crust. And that's that. And you can go ahead and do that. And if it sits while you're doing everything else, that's perfectly fine. So I'll step around you again.
And very healthy too. I mean, we're talking fish here.
And you can actually, we don't have a grill here today.
Sure.
Perfect dish with the grilled fish.
On the grill, okay.
So we're gonna go ahead and just throw that in.
So we got the oil. We're cooking on what?
It's about 350, and again, it's not swimming in oil. You just want enough to moisten the fish.
Okay.
And to I'll give that to you. So you've got your. If you'll grab that bowl in the end, it's got some of the chow chow ingredients. We want to just throw a little bit of this in there. We'll just got some going.
Yeah, I chopped this. You got to use some of it.
Yeah, come on.
Chef.
We'll just go this way.
Never enough chow chow.
So we've got the. Some cabbage, green tomato, going in this vinegar, sugar solution with your spices. And you're just going to let that cook enough to soften up the cabbage, but you're not going to cook it until it's applesauce.
Okay.
And this is, I have a garden, it's probably a little too big. I have like a 4,000 square foot garden in the backyard. So you're always going to have those tomatoes that are kind of everywhere.
Sure.
So the chow chow is a great way to use all that stuff up. So we'll go ahead and turn that up.
Very fresh. I mean, you grow a lot of your own stuff.
I do, and you can do that same thing with zucchini, squash, any type of produce. So we're gonna just kind of move these around just a little bit. You don't want to move them too soon because your crust is going to fall off. So
what are you looking for before you move them?
Well, you can see right on the edge of the fish. You're going to see a little bit of the white. It's going to go from opaque to white on the outside. So when you start to see that, you can go ahead and turn the fish over and turn it down and let it sit. You don't have to. If you see smoke, it's way too hot, you're going to burn your cornmeal. But I'm going to go ahead and turn this over now, just to give you an idea. So you got a little color there.
It smells wonderful.
And that's really all you're looking for is, just a little bit of color there. So in the meantime, I'm going to just turn that down a little.
The crust on top I like.
Yeah, just really light crust.
Now you're not the only chef at the Red Pony, right?
No, actually, I wouldn't have 3 restaurants. I have awesome people.
Sure.
I've got the same people with me for a long time, which has enabled me to kind of do everything that we've done so far. And Carl Schulteis is my right hand. We've been working together for 12 years. We're like an old married couple. So, so he's here with me today, and so the 2 of us together, and we've got probably 75 employees between all the restaurants. So
is it kind of like iron sharpening iron? It's like you guys challenge each other to come up with new creative things?
The restaurant business is a crazy business anyway, but it's the characters in the business that make it enjoyable.
Right.
So that's what makes it exciting. And while we've got this catfish going on low,
all right,
if you could, there's the goat cheeses right there with the sticker in the front. We're going to take a little bit of that.
Now when you say a little bit, come on.
So we've got probably about 4 or 5 cups of the grits here, and I'm just going to do maybe like, it's about 2 ounces.
Sure.
For 2 ounces. And it's just totally whatever your taste is on that. The goat cheese is tangy and it's creamy, so we're going to stir that into our grits.
Now, how many would this serve if you're feeding this? Are we looking
well,
at
I've got
a couple
probably
of
enough
folks?
grits for 4 to 6 people, and then I've got just a couple of pieces of catfishes, you and I. And so we're going to let that go, and then I'm just going to turn this on really low, and that's about it, really. We've got our chow chow, so we're going to go ahead and grab this plate.
All right.
We're going to bring it over.
Start to finish, how long are you looking at when you prepare a meal like this, if you don't include the 15, 20 minutes for the grits?
For a home cook, I'd say 40 minutes.
Right, sure.
40 minutes. And the great thing about this is the grits you can make ahead, and they'll stay hot forever because they're like molten.
Oh, that's
and then the
wonderful,
chow chow, I've got some that's pre-made, and you can just, we can it. So that can be done, and you can just pull it out whenever. And then the catfish on the grill, you're probably looking 2 to 3 minutes aside.
Sure.
And on this, since we're using less oil, it just takes a little bit longer, but pretty quick.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and grab our grits. Come on over.
All right.
And I'm just going to put a little bit right here in the center. And the longer you cook them, they thicken up even a little bit more, but we're going to go ahead and do that.
Okay.
And
plating, very important. I'm sure you picked that up in New York. Is that where you went to cooking
Yeah,
school?
we did go to
or
see
chef school. What do you call it? I don't know.
Whatever you want to call it. It's the CIA in Hyde Park, New York, and it's a big change from that hometown of 300, but it was a great experience. And but this is catfish and chow chow, so we're just gonna put it right in there. We've got our catfish right on top. Turn this off, and then actually I'm gonna go to this chow chow right here.
Okay, and this is the chow chow you've already pre-made.
This is the same thing.
You can can it like anyone else.
We just made, and it looks a lot better after it has a little time to cook. Get a little ladle of it here.
Okay.
And you can see that turmeric, which I was talking about, the yellow spice, which really gives it a little, you can give it a little extra juice or whatever. And this is...
that looks amazing. I mean, it's very,
and you've got, a lot of the produce represented, the grits, everything else. And
that's it?
That's it, man.
That's
it's
it. We're
quick
ready?
and easy, yeah.
All right, you know what? I'm getting the fork here. I'm going to try this. And again, you would do you serve this at one of your restaurants?
Yeah, we do the catfish.
Oh, wow.
And it's super tender, and again, it's really simple stuff. So dig on in.
Wow, that is excellent. And again, something I probably wouldn't come into the Red Pony and order.
Yeah,
I'm not even a big fish eater, and this is excellent. So, all right, well, regardless. If you want to find out more about the Red Pony or some of the other restaurants, redpony.com or redponyrestaurant.com.
You got it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for coming and sharing with us.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Of course, helping us live green, Tennessee in the Green Galley.
Pharmacologist and gardener Op Walker loves to talk about the medicinal qualities of food. And of all foods, garlic is one of Dr. Op's all-time favorites.
Welcome to the Medicine Garden. The most medicinal of all vegetables, garlic has been utilized for its healing powers for millennia. Archaeologists discovered clay sculptures and paintings of garlic bulbs in Egyptian tombs dating to 3200 BC. Egyptian writing from 1500 BC recommends garlic as a cure for over 22 common ailments, including heart disease and lack of stamina. King Tut went into the afterlife with garlic at his side. Ancient Greeks and Romans enjoyed a variety of garlic uses, from repelling scorpions to treating dog bites, bladder infections, leprosy, and asthma. Hippocrates, regarded as the father of modern medicine, is said to have used garlic to treat cancerous tumors. Battle-hardened Greek troops ate garlic for courage. Louis Pasteur verified garlic as antiseptic in 1858, and countless studies proved garlic to be a strong antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, and antiparasitic herb. When the supply of sulfa drugs ran out during wartime, the British used garlic to treat wounds. Better still, harmful organisms are not likely to develop resistance to garlic. Not so with pharmaceutical antibiotics. Garlic is used extensively in relieving yeast and candida infections. Garlic boosts the immune system too, increasing interferons while improving actions of white blood cells, critical components of the immune system. Garlic is also effective in treating insulin-dependent diabetes by stimulating the pancreas. This is one of the more underestimated benefits of garlic. An excellent mosquito repellent, the components giving garlic its pungent smell and taste are also responsible for its benefits. Many of these are destroyed in cooking, so raw garlic is the best. Garlic is a wonder herb with astonishing powers, so remember, garlic breath is healthy breath. This is Dr. Opp Walker, and see you next time in the Medicine Garden.
Sometimes you just got to get off the farm. It's an adage people use to suggest a change of scenery. But in 1971, a group of folks came across the country in a caravan of school buses to settle on 1,400 acres outside of Summertown, Tennessee. The farm was the change they needed. For 40 years now, they've grown families, made neighbors, and shared their knowledge and friendship. Relaxed yet committed, today the farm hosts workshops on midwifery, eco-village training, and farm school summer camps where children learn to be citizens of the earth. So join us as we get back down on the farm.
The idea was to put together a life that would be more in harmony with the earth, which, came under the concept of right livelihood, that your work would be seamless with your ideals. And so we tried to develop ways of making a living to support ourselves that would not compromise those ideals, but help us work in tune with the earth, and something that would be helpful for other people and the rest of mankind. And so one of the ways we've done that is through a number of different nonprofits where we do relief and development work around the world. We work with refugees and homeless sheltered children that come here for a program in the summer, and to pass on some of those, ideals onto a generation that might not receive that type of exposure. They say that, not to put your treasures where moth and dust may corrupt. And so you don't see a lot of fancy buildings and things around here. What we've really done is put our attention into the land. We have 1,700 acres here, and over 1,000 acres are set aside strictly as a nature preserve.
Human beings can actually work together and work in a really positive way, to where they're supportive and they can build something that's very positive. And I think where this is giving us glimpses of the future, what can actually happen environmentally, we're right now in a lot of ways destroying our nests. Global warming is a reality, no matter what Rush Limbaugh has to say about it. There's enough scientists who believe it, and we're going to see more extremes in climate changes. We're going to see more trees dying. We're going to see more species leaving. We're going to see the environment which we depend upon, which has a lot to do with growing our food, change in a lot of ways. And so the more we can start developing bonds between each other as human beings and figuring out how we can cooperate and work together, the better we're going to be able to, as a society, country, or even world, handle mass diversity, mass adversarial conditions. And so I think that's really important too. Solar cells, getting to from the actual mechanics of it, solar cells, solar voltaic cells can be put on people's roofs. There's a few people in Nashville and in Cookeville and Knoxville who do installations, and people should check those out. It used to be something that was esoteric, that was something that people with a lot of money did, and something that really didn't pay anything. Maybe it was just something fancy that you could point to on your house and say, hey, I got solar voltaics, big deal. Maybe it was something you could talk about at your party. But now it's more important than that, and now it's actually going to be able to give you energy independence, real independence from the electric companies that are producing it, and even from the government that regulates it. You know, the more we can do that stuff, the better. The more we can grow our own food, produce our own power that's not regulated by big companies, the more independent we will become as people.
This is the community garden, and we started this about last year. Most of us have gardens around our houses, but we also have our houses kind of in the woods, and as the trees got taller, we just weren't getting enough sun. We had used these fields back in the old days, you know, for large, big-scale farming, but we really didn't need to do that as we went through our social economic change, and people were just more doing standard jobs for a living, not trying to make a living at farming. But we felt like we wanted to get back out here where the full sun was. One of the things that's fun here, you know, this represents 10 different family groups. Some spots are owned by individual families, others have 2 or 3 families working together, sharing a spot. People have many different styles of gardening. You've got your raised beds. These folks have theirs set up in like an interesting pattern. And then we'll take a look over here at an example of square foot gardening, where you're kind of doing a real concentration of many different plants within a small bed. And it's just been really an enjoyable social atmosphere as well. All the people out here working together on their gardens.
Our family moved here about a year ago, year and a half ago. And we, you know, are starting our garden out here in the community garden. I think it's where you really get in touch with the source of, you know, it's just feeding your food, you know, feeding your family and feeding your soul. And it's a place to do good work.
And after writing and sitting in front of a computer, the best thing I can do for myself to just recharge and get my attention, get my focus together, is come out and stick my hands in the dirt and start doing things and making food. And it's just a great balance, and it just sort of brings me back in touch with reality, or a different reality. But that's how it works. The more life force there is within the food that you eat, the stronger and healthier you're going to be.
We came here in a caravan of buses in the spring of 1971, and this was a lecture tour that Stephen, my husband, was making that winter, and it was on that caravan that I saw my first birth and decided I wanted to be a midwife.
As a midwife assistant, I'm observing births and learning, and I'm going to go through what's called a CPM certification, and where I have an apprenticeship and helping women and babies have safe birth options, whether they want it to be at home or you know, whatever they want their experience to be, you know, we can be there with them.
And as a matter of fact, the first birth I saw was as perfect as a birth gets, and the woman looked so beautiful. I didn't know that. I mean, that was a big surprise for me, because I thought, you know, you'd look bedraggled and sweaty, but she looked better than usual, not worse than usual.
We didn't know we were going to be midwives. I didn't know I was going to be a midwife, but Ina May called me, and then people kept calling us. And by the end of the year, we had driven all the way around the country, and by the end of the time, by the time we got back here, we delivered about 9 babies. I think it was 9. This wasn't possible where I come from. There was a very, very slim chance that I would have my ideal birth experience in that environment. And so I kept thinking, gosh, I wish I could just go down to the farm and have the baby there. And so I called up to find out if it was possible, and it turned out it was very possible.
It's really gratifying to let women know that they don't have to be scared of their bodies, ability to give birth, because we're as well made as any other mammal, and we work as well if we can lower these levels of fear. I like doing that.
We're neighbors, we're friends, we're almost family in a way, and that just promotes so much more trust, I think, in what would otherwise be a very daunting experience, I think, for a first-time mom. But I don't really feel fear about it at all, and I think that's priceless. So.
And you know, I've had both my children here, now I have grandchildren here on the farm, and it's really about the long-term relationships that you make with people, you know, going through life-changing experiences, you know, life's ups and downs, the sorrows and joys, that really build those, again, those deep relationships that allow you to continue and give you the faith that you need to carry on and feel like, you know, you're making a difference in the world. The solar school is one of the largest, if not the largest, passive solar building in the state of Tennessee, and it's designed so that the lower elevation winter sun, the light passes through the translucent panels across the front of each sawtooth. That light strikes a cinder block wall filled with sand that forms a thermal heat sink which carries the heat down into the cement slab floor, and so the entire building takes on the heat of the sun and, you know, holds it well overnight and keeps the building really warm without a lot of additional heat.
Well, we call what we do lots of different things, but one of the things is community-based education. And the basic idea there is that we're all different, that's great, and that what we want to do, rather than producing kids who are all sort of conform to standards, we like our children unique, and to develop their own strengths and to learn how to work together as a diverse group of human beings, sort of each contributing their strengths to the mix. The way we do education actually also has a lot to do with how permaculturalists do gardening and human settlement. And that is sort of working with natural rhythms. And so where a permaculturalist sort of observes and interacts with plants and animals, a permaculture educator, in addition to teaching about permaculture, interacts with students, sees where their strengths are and how they fit together, and kind of works with their nature.
The building was built in around 1978, and we were just looking for solar alternatives, you know. And if you'll notice, the brick exterior all came from a 3-story factory that we tore down in Pulaski, Tennessee. So, you know, it's built with a lot of recycled materials as well as, you know, ingenuity.
One of our big projects that we're working on right now is our Natural Learning Center. And our plan for that is for that to be a regional center that public schools can take field trips to, but also where we can do staff development. That was one of my jobs back in the New York City school system, and we'd like to become a hub in Tennessee for helping teachers learn how to do both nature education and education based on our ideas of natural learning in their own schools.
And so the more we can start developing bonds between each other as human beings and figuring out how we can cooperate and work together, the better we're going to be able to, as a society, country, or even world, handle mass diversity, mass you know, adversarial conditions. And so I think that's really important too.
It really gives us all a lot of leverage by working together, you know, sharing this piece of land, and the many different projects that the farm's involved in. It really wouldn't be possible without the cooperation of everybody here. And it's been inspiring to me to just see what can be accomplished when you work together and try to do something for the good of all.
Live Green Tennessee is all about sharing ideas and resources to help families and friends take advantage of the agricultural abundance we have growing all around us. Please visit our website for these and all past stories and recipes from Live Green Tennessee. You can find us on Facebook and become a Live Green fan, or email, tweet, or call us. You might share gardening tips and current events, or just reach out with your favorite recipe. Join us next time on Live Green Tennessee, when we'll gather a whole new mix of Tennessee growers, markets, and top chefs who make the move to eating fresh and living green possible for all of us. Right here next time on Live Green Tennessee.
This program is brought to you in part by
the Tennessee Department of Agriculture. This summer, there's fresh, local food grown by a farmer you know at Tennessee farms and farmers markets near you. There's fun there too, with berries to pick, animals to pet, games to play, fish to catch, and color you can bring home to last all summer long. This summer, find yourself on a Tennessee farm with picktnproducts.org.
Do you know where I can find
drill bits? L7.
Thank you.
Hey, aren't you Charlie?
Charlie's here?
Charlie?
Charlie?
People know that farmers have some of the best advice around, like you don't have to be a farmer to save money with Farm Bureau Insurance. Farm Bureau Insurance. Tennessee turns to us.
This happens a lot.
From the great white north to the hills of Tennessee, built with pride and integrity, honest Abe log homes from sea to shining sea, building the American dream. Honest Abe log homes.
It's what you've always wanted.
HonestAbe.com. And by the generous support of the Nature Conservancy of Middle Tennessee and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.